This is Mamuni. Thank you so much for being Amar Baba Ma.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss how to solve a redrafted trial balance. So let's get started. Chalo, shuru kara jak. What is redrafted trial balance? Well, preparing a corrected trial balance after detecting the errors and rectifying the errors is known as redrafting of a trial balance or redrafted trial balance or a corrected trial balance. Okay? Now let's go through the problem. Chalo, আমরা প্রবলেমটা দেখি. See, this is the problem. Redrafted trial balance. The following is the trial balance prepared by an inexperienced accountant, redrafted in a correct form. তো যে inexperienced accountant তো সে কিছু ভুল করেছে, হয়তো কিছু অ্যাকাউন্টস সেটা ডেবিটে হবে সে ক্রেডিটে লিখেছে, বা কিছু অ্যাকাউন্টস সেটা ক্রেডিটে হবে সে ডেবিটে লিখেছে। আমাদের কাজ কি? আওয়ার জব ইজ টু rectify the errors. So let's go through the problem. Trial balance as on 31st March 2021. The name of accounts are given here. The amounts of debit column are here and the amounts of credit column are here. Trial balance টা tally করেছে, but still ও কিছু ভুল করেছে. So our job is to detect the errors and rectify the errors. Okay, let's do it. The first account is cash, 65,000 in the debit column, which is absolutely correct. Okay, let's write cash 65,000. Cash has a debit balance and that is the reason we're writing in the debit column. But why cash has a debit balance? Because cash comes under real account. According to real account, what comes in is debit. Here, from the business point of view, cash comes into the business. So cash account will be debited. Understood? Let's see the next account. The next account is capital. Capital 85,000 in the credit column, which is absolutely correct. So capital has a credit balance. Let's write capital. Capital has a credit balance and that is the reason we're writing in the credit column. Why capital is credit? Because capital falls under personal account. According to personal account, the giver of the benefit is credit. Here, the proprietor is the giver of the capital. So capital account will be credited. Understood? Let's see the next account. The next account is purchases 25,000. Again, this is correct. Let's write purchases 25,000. Purchases has a debit balance. That is the reason we're writing purchases in the debit column. But why purchases is debit? Because purchases comes under real account as well as nominal account. According to real account, what comes in is debit. When goods are purchased, goods come into the business. So purchases account will be debited. According to nominal account, when goods are purchased, cash goes out. So purchases is an expense for the business. Because according to nominal account, all losses and expenses debit. So purchases account will be debited. Understood? Now let's see the next account. The next account is sales account, 30,000, which is wrong. The inexperienced accountant has written wrongly sales amount in the debit column. Sales amount should have been written in the credit column because sales has a credit balance. So we'll have to rectify sales. So let's do it. Sales. Sales has a credit balance. The inexperienced accountant has written wrongly in the debit column, but will rectify and write sales in the credit column, 30,000. Why sales is credit? Because sales falls under real account as well as nominal account. According to real account, what goes out is credit. When goods are sold, goods go out from the business. So sales will be credited. According to nominal account, when goods are sold, money comes in. Sales is an income for the business. So sales account will be credited because according to nominal account, all incomes and gains credit. So sales account will be credited. Understood? Let's see the next account. The next account is investment, 10,000. Investment is an asset. Investment has a debit balance. which has been correctly written in the debit column. So let's write investment 10,000. Investments. $10,000. Now what is investment? Investment means you can invest a huge amount of money in fixed deposit account or in some other scheme. If you invest some amount of money in fixed deposit account, what you are going to get? What is fixed deposit account? A fixed deposit are made for a fixed period time and cannot be withdrawn before the expiry of the period. 1 year, 3 years or 5 years or so on. A fixed deposit is also known as a time deposit or a long time deposit. A certain rate of interest is payable on a fixed deposit. So, the depositor can withdraw the money along with the interest on the maturity date. This is all about investment. You can invest your money in any scheme. In return, you'll get a certain rate of interest. Along with the principal amount, you'll get the interest also. So, on the maturity date. Understood? So, investment comes under real account. According to real account, what comes in is debit. So, when you're investing your money in some scheme, this is an asset. So, according to real account, what comes in is debit. When you invest your money, money comes in. So, investment will be debited. Understood? So, let's see the next account. The next account is interest on investment 1,000, which has been wrongly written in the debit column. It should have been written in the credit column, but the inexperienced accountant had written 1,000 in the debit column. So now we have to rectify and write interest on investment in the credit column. Let's write interest on investment. Interest on investment has a credit balance. Why? Because interest on investment falls under nominal account. According to nominal account, all incomes and gains credit. Here, interest on investment is an income for the business. So, interest on investment will be credited. See, আমি আগেই বলেছিলাম যদি তুমি fixed deposit some amount of money invest করো, you'll get a certain rate of interest along with the principal amount. So, interest on investment is an income for the business. Okay. Now, let's see the next account. The next account is petty cash account. What is petty cash? Petty cash means small amount of money, 9,000. The inexperienced accountant has written correctly in the debit column. So, let's write petty cash account. $9,000. Petty cash account has a debit balance, and that is the reason we have written in the debit column. Why petty cash account has a debit balance? Because petty cash account falls under real account. According to real account, what comes in is debit. Here, petty cash comes into the business. Petty cash means small amount of cash. So, petty cash account will be debited. Understood? Let's see the next account. Debtors account. 30,000. Debtors account has been wrongly written in the credit column because debtors has a debit balance. So now we have to rectify debtors. Let's do it. Debtors 30,000. Why debtors has a debit balance? Because debtors falls under personal account. According to personal account, the receiver of the benefit is debit. Here the debtor is the receiver of the benefit. So, debtors account will be debited. Understood? Let's see the last account. The last account is creditors, 15,000. The inexperienced accountant has written correctly in the credit column. So, let's write creditors, 15,000. Creditors, 15,000. See, we have missed out one item. So, see, we missed out on furniture. So, let's write furniture. Furniture, 10,000 has been wrongly written in the credit column. So, let's rectify furniture and write 10,000 in the debit column. Okay. Furniture. How much? Furniture is 10,000. Furniture has a debit balance and the inexperience, the content has written wrongly in the credit column, but now we have rectified furniture and we have written 10,000 in the debit column. Why furniture has a debit balance? Because furniture falls under real account. According to real account, what comes in is debit. Here, when the business purchased furniture, furniture comes into the business. So furniture account will be debited. Understood? Now we have detected all the errors and we have rectified all the errors. Now let us calculate the total of debit column and the total of credit column as well. Okay. Now the total of debit column is 1,49,000 and the total of credit column is 1,31,000. So the total of debit column is greater than the total of credit column. So 1,49,000 will be written on both sides. So 1,49,000. Since the total of debit column is greater than the total of credit column, so we'll write 1,49,000 on both sides. But there is a shortfall in the credit column. So there will be a balancing figure. Amra দেখলাম all the errors have been detected and rectified. আর কোনো ভুল নেই। তাহলে একটাই হতে পারে এখানে suspense account আসবে to balance the trial balance. Since the trial balance now doesn't tally because the debit column is 1,49,000, the credit column is 1,31,000. The trial balance doesn't tally. So we'll have to tally the trial balance. So we have to transfer the difference as suspense account or the balancing figure will be the suspense account. Okay, so let's write suspense account balancing figure. Balancing figure or short form is BALFI. So how we are getting the amount suspense account balancing figure? If you deduct the total of credit column from the total of debit column, you'll get the difference. So the total of debit column is 1,49,000. The total of credit column is 1,31,000. So if you deduct 1,31,000 from 1,41,000, you'll get 18,000. So the balancing figure will be the suspense account. Understood? So now you see the debit column is equal to the credit column. Shortfall আর থাকছে না 18,000 আমরা লিখে দিয়েছি suspense account. So now the debit column is equal to the credit column. Now the trial balance did tally. Tally করছে trial balance. Understood? I hope you understood. But one more thing. First you got to see you have detected all the errors and you have rectified all the errors. Then only you have to write suspense account if the trial balance doesn't tally. But before that, or you got to recheck the trial balance that you have rectified everything, but still the trial balance doesn't tally. Then only you got to write suspense account. Okay? I hope you understood. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your precious time. I sincerely hope this was useful. And before I fade out, please remember, if some people continuously criticize you and discourage you, please don't feel sad. Please don't bother. Because just remember that in every game, audience makes the most noise, not the players. Bye-bye. Take care, stay safe and stay blessed always.